The concept of space farming, the practice of growing food in space, has captivated scientists for decades. As space exploration advances, the need for sustainable food sources on other planets becomes more pressing. One of the primary goals for future space missions, particularly long-term stays on the Moon or Mars, is to develop agricultural systems. These systems should be able to support human life. But the question arises, how could space farming impact Earth's animal ecosystems? Space farming would require an entirely new approach to agriculture. The conditions in space are vastly different from those on Earth. In microgravity, plants behave differently. Growing crops without the help of Earth's soil, air, and sunlight presents unique challenges. Scientists are developing innovative methods such as hydroponics, aeroponics, and even soil-free farming techniques to overcome these obstacles. These advancements in space farming could have profound effects on how we think about farming on Earth. However, the implications of space farming go beyond just food production for humans. As the technology evolves, it could also influence the balance of ecosystems, both on Earth and in space. Space farming techniques, while designed to help humans survive on distant planets, could lead to unexpected consequences for life on Earth. One potential impact is the introduction of new agricultural technologies that could alter the way we interact with animal ecosystems. For example, the use of genetically modified crops in space farming could find its way into Earth's agriculture. These new crops could affect the plants and animals that depend on them. Genetic modifications, which could increase crop yields or make plants more resistant to space conditions, might have unintended consequences on local ecosystems. These new plants could potentially outcompete native species. This would change the habitats for animals and disrupt local food chains. For instance, genetically engineered crops designed for space farming might be more resilient to pests. This could lead to the increased use of pesticides. It could have a ripple effect, potentially affecting the insects and animals that rely on these crops for food. It might also affect the animals that depend on them. While this could lead to more efficient food production, it could also lead to the decline of certain species that rely on traditional crops. Additionally, space farming could impact water usage on Earth. Many space farming techniques rely on water conservation methods, such as hydroponics. These methods use a fraction of the water required for traditional farming. If these technologies are adopted on Earth, they could reduce the overall demand for water in agriculture. This could potentially alleviate some of the strain on freshwater ecosystems, but it might also disrupt animal populations that depend on natural water sources. The shift towards space farming could also reduce the need for traditional farming methods. Traditional farming methods have been known to impact ecosystems. Livestock farming, in particular, has long been associated with habitat destruction, deforestation, and greenhouse gas emissions. If space farming can reduce the need for animal agriculture by providing alternative food sources, it could have a positive impact on wildlife habitats. The reduction of land needed for farming could allow for the restoration of ecosystems that have been damaged by human activity. This would give animals more space to thrive. However, this transition might not come without its own challenges. As traditional farming methods are phased out, the livelihoods of those involved in agriculture and livestock farming could be threatened. This could lead to social and economic issues that could, in turn, affect local ecosystems. Moreover, the shift to space farming could inadvertently lead to the intensification of industrial-scale farming. The promise of more efficient food production might encourage the expansion of monoculture farming. In monoculture farming, vast areas of land are dedicated to a single crop. Monoculture farming can deplete the soil of essential nutrients. This leads to long-term environmental damage and the loss of biodiversity. This could have devastating effects on animal populations that rely on a diverse array of plants and insects for food. On the other hand, space farming could offer a solution to the growing problem of overpopulation on Earth. As the global population continues to rise, the demand for food will increase. This puts additional pressure on Earth's ecosystems. Space farming could help alleviate this pressure by providing a more efficient way to grow food without expanding agricultural land. By growing food in controlled environments such as space stations or lunar habitats, we could reduce the strain on Earth's natural resources. This might preserve habitats for wildlife, giving ecosystems more time to recover from human impact. Another possible benefit of space farming is the development of new agricultural practices. These practices could enhance biodiversity on Earth. Techniques developed for space farming, such as closed-loop systems and resource recycling, could be adapted to Earth's farming practices. These practices might reduce waste, improve soil health, and create a more sustainable farming model. This would benefit both humans and animals. For example, closed-loop systems in space farming could minimize waste. They would recycle water, nutrients, and even plant matter. This could be applied on Earth to reduce pollution and promote the growth of healthier ecosystems. While space farming could have positive effects, it could also raise concerns regarding the spread of invasive species. Plants or animals used in space farming might be introduced to Earth, potentially disturbing local ecosystems. These new species might not have natural predators. This would allow them to thrive unchecked and outcompete native species. Invasive species are a leading cause of biodiversity loss. Their spread could have a profound impact on animal populations. In addition, space farming could impact animal behavior in unforeseen ways. The introduction of space-grown food to Earth might change the way animals interact with their environment. For example, animals might start relying on crops that are easier to access than their natural food sources. This could lead to changes in migratory patterns, breeding behaviors, and feeding habits. Such disruptions could have cascading effects on ecosystems. They could alter food chains and predator-prey dynamics. However, it's also possible that space farming could offer new opportunities for ecological restoration. If space farming technologies allow for more sustainable farming practices, it could help reverse some of the environmental damage caused by industrial agriculture. By restoring ecosystems and reducing habitat destruction, space farming could provide a refuge for endangered species. The integration of space farming with Earth's agricultural practices could help create a more balanced relationship between humans, animals, and the environment. As we look to the future, space farming could provide a model for how we can meet the challenges of feeding a growing population while protecting Earth's animal ecosystems. By advancing our knowledge of space agriculture, we may find ways to reduce the environmental footprint of farming and enhance biodiversity on Earth. Ultimately, space farming has the potential to be a game changer for both humanity and the planet. But as with any new technology, we must proceed with caution. We must carefully consider the potential impacts on Earth's ecosystems. By learning from the lessons of space farming, we can ensure that the future of agriculture benefits both people and animals. The path to sustainable farming may lie not only in the stars, but in the wisdom we gain from the natural world around us. As space farming continues to evolve, we may find that its greatest impact is not just on space exploration, but on the health of our planet's ecosystems.